A reading from the Gospel of Mark. One Sabbath, Jesus was going through the grain fields, and as they made their way, his disciples began to pluck heads of grain. The Pharisees said to him, "Look, why are they doing what is not lawful on the Sabbath?" And he said to them, "Have you never read what David did when he and his companions were hungry and in need of food? He entered the house of God when Abiathar was high priest and ate the bread of the presence, which is not lawful for any but the priest to eat. And he gave some to his companions." Then he said to them, "The Sabbath was made for humankind, and not humankind for the Sabbath. So the Son of Man is Lord even of the Sabbath." Jesus challenging the religious authorities here to rethink what they think they know about the religious law, and reminding them what the law is for and what a portion of the law is for. So you'll recall that the 10 Commandments, the Mosaic commandments given by God through Moses, break down into 3 essential parts. The first few commandments are about how we are to treat God, honor God with all your heart, mind, soul, body, and strength, and love God. And the last 5 or 6 or so are about how we are to treat our neighbor. Don't covet, don't steal, don't lie. And then in the middle of it is that commandment about honoring, keeping the Sabbath and keeping it holy, making sure to observe it. And it's this commandment about the Sabbath that the religious authorities are challenging Jesus. They are noting that his disciples are doing work by going through and picking grain. And you're not supposed to do any work on the Sabbath. You're supposed to rest in the image of the God who created the universe and then rested on that 7th day. So they take the Sabbath seriously, but Jesus is reminding them why that commandment about the Sabbath exists in the first place. It's not to constrain us with ridiculous rules, but it is about making a framework for us for a life that works. It's making a framework for us so that we can live well together, we can live well for one another, and we can live well in relationship with God. And one of the things that the Sabbath did, that enforcement of the Sabbath, helped the people of Israel to do was to collectively say no to abusive employment practices, specifically thinking of Pharaoh and all that brick making, so that they would not fall back into patterns like that as they escaped from their time of enslavement and into the freedom of their new life. The people of God, the people of Israel, were told to remember what it was like when they were not free. And one of the ways they do that is to gather as a people and reinforce for one another their identity as the people of God, and to just collectively say no to the forces of the world that would slowly eat away and help ebb away that collective life. So the Sabbath is there to strengthen the people of God. It's not there to create a false, artificial set of rules so that the Sabbath itself can be pure. The Sabbath is for the good of the people. And so it's that essential message in today's portion of the gospel that reminds us that the frameworks, the rules, the law, the great commandments that Jesus has given us, that God has given us over time, over generations, it's not there to constrain us in some arbitrary authoritarian way. The law, as set out by God, the set of values, precepts, and practices that we've inherited as people of faith, they are there to help set a common foundation for us, a foundation for our common life together that works for all. Because when I choose not to lie, steal, covet, lust after, when I am observing that rule, it's not just for my good, it's for the good of all the people around me. So this is a reminder of the collective good, the common good that comes from individuals observing and living by the law. And it's also Jesus' reminder to us that while that law is important in building our common life, it is not something to turn into an idol. It's also to come into contact with our common sense in both senses of that phrase. It's to be impacted by the externals of what's going on. And if, in fact, you're hungry, starving, and in need of nourishment, God wouldn't think it was making for life for you to just starve yourself while there's food right there. Jesus says, use your common sense, nourish yourself. That's ultimately what this law of the Sabbath and what all of God's law is meant to do, is to lay a foundation and a framework for you and me, for all the people of God, in which to flourish and to help others flourish. So may you find your own contemplation today of God's law in your life. Where are the places it might be worth just pulling out or Googling 10 Commandments if you don't know where to find it in the Bible? But have a look at that law that is laid down for us, or Jesus' summary of it, the summary of the law, which is to love God with all our heart, mind, body, and soul and strength. And the second, like it, to love our neighbor as ourselves. Look at the places in your life where that is a healthy framework and a helpful framework for you, and look at the places where it challenges you to perhaps do better. So may God be with you in that reflection this day, and may God be with you and bless you this day and always. Amen.